Buenas, buenas, buenas.
Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Welcome back. We are here. I am Karina.
And I'm Juan.
And who have we got, Juan? Tell him who we
Today-
got. Who we got today?
Today I have asked a very incredible person to come in today.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Victor. Well, he's also associated with Los Locos Films, right? Los Locos, or was it Los Locos, right?
Film Locos.
Film Locos. There you go. See, I was already flipping on my
Yeah,
head.
close there.
Well, it's because you reminded me of the thing it was before, wasn't it? Tres.
Oh, the Free Blocks Productions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
there's a lot of it in the story that I need to recap on. So that's why we have him here today. He's a very inspirational figure as well,
Mm-hmm.
helping out the community a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Victor, would you like to take it from there? First of all, start with your name. State your name, where you're from. How did you originate? How did you start? First of all?
Start.
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Victor Rios. I'm originally from Bolivia.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Boliviano. And yeah, I've been in the UK since I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, I came here when I was quite young.
Did you
yeah.
grow up in Bolivia?
Yeah, pretty much until my 17s, and then eventually I moved here.
What was
Yeah.
that like? Because obviously you had your childhood, your adolescent years there.
Yeah. It was great, at that age you're like discovering things and you're
Uh-huh.
like doing stuff, and I think it was a shock because coming
Right on.
to London, not knowing the language, not knowing anything, it was just quite a shock. And yeah, but like anyone, you adapt and you're able to sort of like just progress from there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you took a while to learn the language as well, no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It took me some years. Yeah, it was quite frustrating because the thing is that you're so sociable at that age. You're going out, parties and this and that. You're thinking about, oh, I want to study this, I want to do this, I want to
Yeah.
do that, and then all of a sudden you get to a place where you can't do none of that,
Oh, yeah. that's-
and you don't even have friends. Like the only friend is your mom. Like,
Yeah.
and your mom wants to take you to church, and it's like, okay, vamos.
Let's go.
I think so many people can relate with that, It's true.
Proper, yeah.
Those are the ages that we always used to go to church. But
Yeah.
tell me, how did you get into, well, what you're doing now? Because you also do acting and filmmaking at the
Yeah.
same time as well. How did that come?
Well, to be honest,
Oh,
God.
I've always performed my whole life.
Yeah. It's funny because the thing is, in South America, we tend to do a lot of performance dances, folkloric dance. We're exposed about a lot of these things culturally, but you don't really see it as a profession. You only see it as a hobby because over there is always pushed towards you to do be a doctor, a businessman.
lawyer.
Exactly, these big jobs and stuff. So when I came here, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna become a business guy, and what I'm gonna do first? I need to learn the language. So I sort of dedicate myself just to sort of learn as much as I could, and then eventually I went into school. And yeah, it was hard because it's still, even though it was English, it wasn't English. It was kind of like ESO, and it's still, it was just, I came to Brixton. So
Okay.
Straight,
I was
straight
like-
to South London.
exactly, and I was like, oh gosh, like what's up? Because like people would like, oh yeah, bruv, and things like that.
So you captured those kind of men.
Yeah. So it was a different kind of English as well that I was learning, and I wasn't really sure, what is this, and
Yeah.
finding my
Yeah.
way, and it was initially a bit tough, and then gradually I discover, acting, and that was in church, to be honest, because like people used to perform and stuff, and I just thought like, oh, this is something nice to do, and I mingled with another Latinos. This was back 15 years in Elephant and Castle.
Ooh.
Yeah. There was a lot like community in the church and stuff, and then eventually from there I realized, I really like performing. I really enjoy this, and then from there I started to take it more seriously, and I began to study and do more stuff like that. Yeah.
And the transition from acting to filmmaking, how did that happen as well?
Acting to filmmaking. So basically, I went to college, and again, back in the day, I was in Lambeth, and I was the only Latino in the performing arts.
Oh.
And it was interesting because I was challenged, not just because of the language, but also to be able to act in English.
Ooh,
Yeah,
thinking about that.
So
now,
it's
yeah.
like
That's hard.
it was just like, oh gosh, but somehow there was an adrenaline there, you know, and I was like feeling, yeah, I really enjoy this sort of challenge.
Yeah.
And then eventually after college, I couldn't go uni. I applied for stuff and I couldn't get into. It was quite tough, to be honest, because the reality is that I was not necessarily documented. So therefore I was blocked with many things and possibilities I could do. So I remember my teacher was telling me, you know, you're going to have to go the hard way. Like, just do anything you can. And then with time, something will happen, you know? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And that's what I did. But, you know, that somehow, again, I took it as a challenge. You know, if they're going to close doors or there's doors that are closed, I'm going to find windows to just jump in, you know?
That's a good metaphor. Oh, my God.
Love that. Oh, my God. Back your door. I'm going through the window.
Going through the window, man. One way or the other, we're going in.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it was just hard. But the thing is that I took it really, like, you know, it's not going to stop me from doing... And it's funny because, you know, I everywhere I was going, like, I always find myself to be the only Latino. And it was just, again, it was like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'll just try to do my best, and I try to show this and that. And then I started writing my own plays. I started sort of like hiring theaters, and I started inviting people to come along. But the thing is that our community back then, it wasn't as, you know, as engaged in terms of the arts and stuff. So I could only fill a certain amount of people in the theaters. And then I realized, okay, so this is a physical space, and I can only get perhaps 40 to 60 people to come and see me once or twice. So then I started thinking, how can I actually get to more people to see what I'm capable of? And then is when I started transitioning from theater into film. And then I used the same approach. I was like, okay, I cannot do, you know, I cannot get jobs with stuff like that. I'm going to make my own films. And that's how I started sort of making films. And like yourself as well, like the other day we were talking and he was saying like, you know, my university was YouTube. Same. Like, it was true. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, and that's how I transitioned into filmmaking. And then eventually I started just making stuff, working in the film of filmmaking as well, but more on the corporate side. Okay. And I started making a living out of that. And of course, my situation, you know, it changed. Of course, now I am okay. I can do more. And I realized with that, I could have more options and more opportunities.
Definitely.
And that's why sometimes when I come across with people who have, you know, the right to be here and they are not necessarily doing something useful, and normally this happens with young people, I tell them how fortunate they are, you know, to have all these opportunities to be able to do, because there is no doors that are closed for them. They can just open and just walk in and just do things. So I think that also comes my you know, the passion behind trying to sort of...
It's your drive.
Yeah, and also, you know, show other young people, you know, what is possible, you know, and yeah, motivate them. Yeah, and that's my other work that I do also with the community.
Well, it's true. Yeah. Miss Lopez did mention that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like what you guys are doing together as a collective, I think is very inspiring, admirable, and, you know, it's empowering the youth, really.
Yeah.
No, because a lot of these kids, like from what Miss Lopez was saying, you know, their English is not 100%. They've just come, and it's, you know, probably experiencing exactly what you experienced when you got here. So to have a representative like yourself, I think is very crucial within the community, because you show anything's possible. Yeah. Like regardless of the labels and the barriers and the doors, you know, there are windows, you know.
Yeah, just climb them.
There's a way to do it, which I think is, you know, a very important message. Very important message.
Yeah.
How many sessions have you done with schools and stuff now?
With schools, I could say I've been doing for the past 2 years and a half, like working with schools. But before that, because at some point I stopped acting because I realized, you know, I need to make a living, and then I was a bit down because the industry was completely different of how it is now. Because there was no roles, you know. I would actually get an audition every 6 to 7 months. And then eventually I started sort of thinking like, you know, what can I do? So I sort of stopped. But on the side, I couldn't leave the creative aspect. So I started facilitating. And that's basically working with communities, providing them the tools to be able to sort of create either films or theater. And I work with different communities. I work with adults with learning disabilities. I work with elderly, with refugees and migrants. And then lately, I've been working with the schools. And now, in the past, let's say 2 to 3 years, I've been working more with my own community. And I also went back into acting because the industry has changed. And now, a month, I would say, I get at least 2 to 3 auditions a month.
Nice.
So that's a big change from what it was 8 years ago. So I think now when I work with young people, and especially my experience with Claudia Lopez in school, it's funny because I laugh about this because I study in that school. I did go.
No way, wait. Was she there?
No.
Oh,
No, we're talking about years.
Years
probably,
back.
yeah, another 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's it's pretty much when I got here. And I didn't know English. And the school wasn't a mixed school. It was a girls' school. Okay. And there was sort of easel bit at the back of the school. And it was only me and a couple of friends that, were from refugees from Pakistan, Afghanistan. And it was just me and another Bolivian. And there was also una colombiana también. Like there was the 3 of us only. And we didn't know how to speak English. So it's funny that now I am able to return to this school where 23% of them are, Latin American or Spanish-speaking students. And when I worked recently, last week, it was just so, I was so passionate because I also share my experience with them and said, look, you guys are lucky.
Yeah.
You've got people to talk with. I mean, if it wasn't because of these 2 people that I had, I couldn't be able to communicate or stuff. You guys are very, But again, things evolve, things change, and of course they have their own struggles.
Yeah.
But I think by being able to be there and showing them that not just me, that there's all the Latin American people who are very successful in the UK, what Claudia does also bring, many role models is amazing for them to be able to sort of think and say, wow, if that person is there, looks like me, speaks like me, I can also do it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. When you were saying you went to that school, it's like, para mí es como para que vea cómo es el universo.
Yes.
It's incredible how mi mamá siempre me dijo, el mundo hace 1000 vueltas.
Oh, sí.
Usted nunca sabe dónde va a terminar. And I just think that's incredible that, it's done almost like a full circle. Like you said, now you're there, now you're giving back.
Sí, no. Y me siento privilegiado because the thing is that, I never thought I could actually make an impact. And I used to do that with other communities. But somehow when you work with, your community, because back then I tried. But then, in the industry it was like, oh, there's not enough demographics to justify our existence.
That's true.
Right? But with the new wave on the crisis from Spain, there's a new people who came. They were documented. They were able to open their business, join to unions and change the whole thing. And also one of the things that we need to also acknowledge is that there is also another community that is kind of close to us, which is the Brazilian community.
Yes.
Very true.
And alongside with the Brazilians, we get probably to 500,000 or even more Latin American people living in the UK.
They're actually the highest demographic of Latinos to live in the UK, which I think,
Yeah.
Wow.
They are.
They
are. They're the number 1 Latinos here in the UK. I think the following is then Colombian. But Brazilians are first. I think it's very important that you say that because I know, being half Portuguese, I know a lot of Brazilian people, and I know...
Falo português, não?
Falo
eu
português. I português também. And I know they feel the exclusion con Latinos.
Yes.
Because they're like, they didn't feel accepted within the Latin community because I know some Latinos no lo ven como Latinos.
Yes.
But en verdad, they were colonized just like we were,
Yeah.
The Portuguese landed and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
more or
some
less
sort of
the same.
colonization and stuff like that. Absolutely. And the beauty of me being able to sort of also mingle with other people, I really enjoy like the company of my Brazilian friends. And then I learned Brazilian Portuguese. And I spent, I would say, a good 6 to 7 years just involved in the Brazilian community. And I found out, so many things that they do. I can speak Brazilian Portuguese fluently, and I can speak it even with the accent. And I'm married with one.
There you go.
Le gustó
This
tanto que casado.
explains a lot.
But I think that adds so much into the like, things that I now do because there's so many similarities, There's so many. The only thing that I found in the Brazilian community is that, of course, they are proud of being Brazilians. So therefore, they don't call themselves, Latinos.
Yeah.
But they're more likely to accept Latin Americans.
Yeah.
Right? So this is something that we've been discussing with Claudia and other people as well when we started creating the Latin American Heritage Month on Instagram. And our reality is completely different than is in the States. So here is, like you said, the majority is Brazilians. And we had a meeting with the ambassador of the Consulate of Brazil recently. Wow. And then I went with the, data saying like, we are 250,000 Latin Americans living in the UK. And I said, no, wait. He said, no. There's 250,000 Brazilians alone in the UK, according to our data. So with your data and the data I'm giving you, probably there is more than 500,000.
Okay.
And that for me was an eye-opener because I would never actually think about, getting this data. And now I'm actually quite interested to sort of like see that because we are not part of the census. And that whole thing feeds more my hunger to be able to, I think we need to be able to bring that. And I'm trying to do that through my acting, through my filmmaking, through like teaching and all whatever I do.
Thank you. Which one do you prefer doing the most? That's going to be the toughest question I was going to ask you.
Bro, it's hard.
He's like, don't do this to
Don't
me.
do this to me.
But I could say like the first thing that it would be acting because it was my first passion and it still is because it gives you so much ability to be able to represent and to embody some character and be able to live through the the shoes of that person. And I think already by doing that, I always thought like because I don't know many Bolivians that doing art as well. I know a lot of like Colombians, Ecuadorians, Peruvians, but Bolivians no. And I always thought like at least with me being able to do acting and trying to be into places that other people are not, I can potentially,
So you're opening the door.
Yes, and inspire other people to be able to see. I think it's all about visuals, right?
That's true.
It's all about visuals. If like someone sees that, then eventually will be okay. It's like today I went to watch Encanto, and I was thinking, gosh, this is amazing because this already, covers the shadow that we've been living into, like the aspect of narcos. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and that, for example, that's a very positive image that we're getting with Encanto.
Yeah.
Because the reference is never gonna be like, narcos. Plata Plomo. Now it's gonna be like one
The
song.
food, the dance, the music, the culture.
Exactly. So that's why I think it's super important to be able to sort of have that sort of image of representation on the screen, in theaters, in art, in galleries and stuff.
I agree. I find it's an easier way to educate people when it's visual because everyone, like you said, is that we live in a visual world now. Everything is like you want to see it. So to have a representation that is more positive and you can watch it and see it, I feel like you can educate people as well. Like you say, we're changing the connotation con Latinos. It's not like we don't just have to offer the yay, there's so much more that we have to offer.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing that yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the other thing that also I think I'm coming to, because I realize that a lot of young people are struggling with their identity. And this is something I also saw in the school, right? Because again, they came from Spain. Not all of them, but a lot of them had to sort of adapt themselves into the, this Spanish society and how they were. Some of them suffered bully and some of them came with like, no, I'm Spanish.
Yeah.
But then when they come here, they identify themselves as like, yeah, it's okay to be Colombian, Ecuadorian, like this. But I think at some point they're going to come to the point like, what am I? Am I Spanish? Am I Colombian? Or am I British? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm already on that.
Yeah.
That's what I feel,
It's the same with me. Like when I came here, I've been like half of my life, I've been even more. And I've been thinking like, so who am I? Am I Bolivian? Am I Latino? And I think now I sort of find a sort of a balance, like a place that I think I am a British Latino. And this is something that people don't really understand yet because I don't think there is enough for people to see. But the more and more things and spaces that we open to be able to showcase who we are, like La Voz,
That is
pues
true.
ayuda a la gente understand a bit more how we are and who,
That's
how we
true.
live.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you got any projects you're allowed to talk about right now?
Yes, lots.
Yeah, man.
us,
This is the
tell
point.
us.
This is the time
Tell
to
us.
talk about it, man.
So, in the past 2 years, have I been working with Film Locos? So the idea for Film Locos was to open a platform that could bring representation in diversity in general. However, the more and more I've been working with that platform is being like, but there's nothing that represents the Latin American community in the cinema industry here in the UK. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to try to see how I can actually do that and try to sort of, create these stories and take it to festivals and stuff. And then eventually we were planning to sort of do a short film, and then the pandemic came. So everything stopped.
Yeah.
So, but on the period of lockdown, I was, okay, I need to do something because, I have some time. I have no job. I need to do something. Like, I can't just stand there and just complain about the virus. So I started connecting with people through Clubhouse, and I connect with really interesting people like Raquela Hayes, she's Brazilian, Andrea Perez from Venezuela, she lives in Chester. Then people from Manchester, people from Oxford, from Dublin, and they are Latin American filmmakers. And then I sort of like thought, what about if we do films together? Yeah. But it was crazy because, how are we going to work, right? And then we started sort of like planning. And then we developed like 6 short films. And as soon as lockdown was over, all of them came. And we created 6 short films in 6 days. Yes.
Wow.
Entonces,
That is work rate to a different level.
it was absolutely mad. And initially, I remember talking to another friend called Sammy, and I was saying, I just want to do something small. Y después cuando él me dijo, hey, look at your small thing, I was like, bro, it just got descontroló, and then eventually, like, because people were just putting like effort, they wanted to make it. So after that, we've been touring these short films. We went to Wales, we took it there. Potentially next year, we're taking it to Manchester. And here we did a couple of private screenings. And hopefully next year, we're hoping to do one bigger one where we can showcase again these short films. And it's not just there. I mean, we still want to do more. We wanted to release them on YouTube, but then they are so good.
No, you gotta put them in festivals.
Exactly. It's like, it's so good, and they are so diverse because we have one of a Brazilian focus in the Brazilian community. One is LGBTQ. One Afro Latino.
Love that.
Wow.
One of like a lady who's in her 50s and she's on Tinder, and it's like challenging the ¿me entiendes?
Ay, me encanta.
And then there's another one about a LGBTQ. Second generation that we shot in the school, and this was with the involvement of the studios.
Yeah.
Wow.
Claudia.
Okay.
And
See?
and again, it's just telling the story of a second generation of Latin Americans, and it was just really cool. So we hoping to get recognition in places, and we decided, okay, we can't stop there. So now we launch a Christmas competition to encourage people to create films, and we're gonna give £100. £100 to the winner, and the only things that we asking is that the theme is Christmas. They have one Latin American character, because anyone can enter. We're just trying to encourage people to write also that with us in the story, right? And that's it. And it has to be in between 5 to 8 minutes. And we're gonna screen this on the 18th of December. So yeah, so that's
Soon.
yeah. That's very soon. Yeah, I mean, we've done 6 in 6 days, bro. Like, I think
That's
like,
incredible.
you
You
can do
know,
anything.
like that's
yeah.
that's mad.
Yeah. But you see, that's the thing, is the hunger of people, like, because it wasn't all on my own, even though it was an idea. It was, the help of Raquel, Jauni, who's based in Oxford, he's Brazilian as well, Mauro, who's Peruvian, Italian. So we have all these different sort of like Latin Americans, like putting all this effort to work, and I think like it's the time,
Yeah.
There's a time to start making.
It shows like how powerful we are as a collective.
Exactly.
It's like se juntaron todos and you made literally 6 films in 6 days. It's
Sí.
like
Sí.
That's-
Hicimos un pequeño evento también, porque hicimos en el colegio y tuvimos alrededor de 140 personas that attended into the school.
I think I saw it. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that they did it in the school, and you guys screened
Mm-hmm,
a bit of what you guys had done.
Yeah,
it looked
exactly.
really, really good.
Yeah. And that was a private one because we just managed to sort of like come out of like the COVID regulations.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, imagine if we managed to get this in a private event, imagine how many people we could get if we made an open event. So I think that shows a lot into like our community's hungry to sort of like, you know,
Be on
get
the
things
creative
done,
Yeah.
hear stories and stuff like that.
I feel like people are more or less on the same page in the sense of we need to start representing our culture,
Yeah.
you know, in different fields as well, like we've been saying, because people need the representation, the children need the representation. We didn't have it growing up.
No, we didn't.
No, like Latinos in the UK, no,
Yeah.
nada que ver. Compared to now, it's like on the radio now you hear reggaeton, for example. It's like, 10 years ago you would have never heard that before.
La única canción era Gasolina.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
That's the occasional.
Literally.
That's on repeat right now all the time.
Y'all need to leave that. I've said this before. Y'all need to leave that song in the past, please. Please.
O de Despacito, please, no.
Oh, no more
Please,
Despacito,
no.
please, no.
We got so many good music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of like art that can be, you know, can get into places that sometimes, you know, you're less expected. And I think, you know, reggaeton, you know, it can have its goods and bads, but that has actually enhanced the visibility, you know. We need to also see that perspective because
For sure.
I remember traveling to Italy and then going to Rome, and then I was walking and then the restaurants playing like reggaeton, and I was like, what? And then of course they associate it, but at least there is some sort of visibility. So I think it's just depending how you use it and how you're able to sort of, you know, use it in our own advantage.
Exactly.
It's very
Yeah.
true.
No, it's true.
Now, this is more of a personal question now. Just because, obviously, I do a different type of filming, but
Yeah.
what you're doing is something I want to do in my late 30s, possibly. But say if we were saying this to someone else, say it was someone younger who wants to get into like directing and movie making, what would be your best advice to them? Because I didn't go that direction because I knew kind of how crazy it can be and how hard it can be, especially in terms of trying to make it as a living as well. Like, what advice would you give?
I think, you know, I think just taking the same route that you and I took, which is pretty much just grab a phone if you don't have a camera and check a lot of YouTube videos if you want to get into filmmaking, you know, and just learn, you know, absorb. There's a lot of things in London happening. Film competitions. It's about how hungry you are. Because the thing is that a lot of people think, oh yeah, I need a camera to be able to do, you know, a good thing. I need lenses. I need actors. You don't need none of that. What you need is ganas. That's what you need. ¿Sabes? Porque después, that's it, honestly. Because you can do like anything with your phone nowadays. Like a, you know, an iPhone 12 has a really great camera, and the thing is that filmmaking as well is not just, you know, a one person thing. That's what I learned. It's about, you know, teamwork. So I think it's also trying to get into places where other people already perhaps know more than you, and trying to sort of be humble enough when they know more than you to be able to ask, what is this? What is that?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we come with the idea that we read or we saw a video on YouTube and we think we know it all.
Oh, yeah.
You know? and I made the same mistake. And I think for me, the way of how I learn more is by even working with people that know more than me, or helping them, offering myself for free to go places and say, oh, what is this? ¿Qué hace este botón? Or what is this? ¿Por qué colocas
Why
la
are you
luz?
shining that light
Yeah,
there? Yeah,
why?
what does that do?
Porque, exactly,
Yeah.
porque ese tip que te dan, de repente te va a demorar unas 10 a 20 horas de ver de YouTube. Pero tú solo shadowing personas, o sea, tú puedes aprender un montón de cosas. So I think the best advice is just bueno, no soy Rocky Balboa, ¿no? Stay hungry or something. Stay hungry and just
Always
go.
be learning, basically.
Sí, porque esa es la cuestión. Y tengas cámara, tengas dinero, no tengas dinero, mira, hasta hay cosas like Argos cards. You know, if you need a camera, you can pay it by installments. You know, there's no excuse, I think, anymore.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You know, this is funny because I was talking to a friend as well, and I have a tripod at home, and this tripod belongs to my dad, and he gave it to me, but not long ago, 3 years ago, when I went to see him in Spain. But I hold it because I said, you know, I couldn't touch this tripod before. Because my dad used to have these camcorders and this tripod, pero como era tan preciado, you know, it was just so precious. And he was like, no, you're going to break it. So he would never let me touch it, you know. Lo único que me dejaba es apretar un botón and that was it. And then I was just getting so frustrated that I never had that chance. And then eventually, after years, I went to his, to Spain. I went to see him. And then he said, oh, by the way, I got this in case you need it. And I see it was the same tripod when I was so child, and he kept it. And now I kept it. I keep it, you know. And it's funny because I never was able to touch it, you know. And then I said to my dad, you know, you little cracker, like, look how the world is, you know. And I think that's the beauty. If you have, you know, younger siblings or people, I think that's what I love working with the young people, because, you know, I bought some kids specifically to work with them. And I remember working with other people that say, oh, what about if they broke it? Let them, because I think by just giving the opportunity to hold it, you're empowering them. And I think that's what you need sometimes, to be able just to grab everything that you can to be able to make anything that you want. And yeah, sorry.
That is so
Oh, quite
true.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's because I get so passionate.
I was like, keep going.
Yeah, don't stop.
La voz con Víctor Reyes.
No,
But that's what it's
going.
about.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, you know. It's not really for us to talk. It's more insight to you, because you literally have gems upon gems.
Literally.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I want to say, if someone wants to get involved with any projects that you got going on, how would they have to process through that? How would they? Do they just have to approach you, or say if they have a general interest?
Yes. I mean, what we're trying to do with the Film Locos, as much as we are also trying to produce and, you know, showcase, we're also trying to open opportunities. But that's according to project-based. So, for example, now we're going to be shooting a short film for Christmas. And again, we're going to do it in the next 2 weeks. And then we are putting a call out for a table read for actors eventually to get involved. But also we'll put like a little call out for people if they want to be part of it, just to shoot or whatever, you know, as a way of like, you know, getting an interest. And I think the best way is just to follow Film Locos, because there's going to be always something that we will be able to do. And if we are not able to sort of supply the opportunity at that point, we can always, you know, if they send messages, we can always direct them to places that they can go or do as a starting point, you know. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with the Film Locos, to make it not something that is far reachable, you know. It's not like a production, you know. It will be kind of like we will produce, but I'm calling it more like a platform.
I see.
You know,
Okay.
so people can actually be able to reach us and talk to us and say, you know, this and that. We might not able to produce, you know, you have an idea and we might not be able to produce your film, but we are more likely that we can encourage you, okay, but this is what you could do. And this is how the information we can pass it into you. You know?
I see.
Yeah.
Which I think is just as helpful, you know.
Very.
'Cause direction is very important, because a lot of people don't have the guidance or the direction.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
great that you guys are willing and are doing that for people.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be looking into like potential in the future, seeing how we can also supply either, you know, acting classes as well. Because we saw that there's a lot of people who wanted to audition, but they don't know the process of it, you know, because it requires like having a headshot, spotlight, show reel, all these things that people don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. And the thing is that I got questions from people, oh, how do I start? And now we are thinking about in the future to see how we can either do like a little seminar or something that can inform, and use the website also to sort of like create material where people can always go back and see. Yeah, I think it all depends on to how we progress, because as well, you know, it takes a lot of work.
It does.
Yeah. And and now we're trying to see potential ways of like how to get funds or grants to be able to sort of keep supplying that sort of information and opportunities.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why do I see? When I remember seeing Film Locos at the beginning, I was thinking to myself, ooh, you know, the way I saw it, I was like, this could be kind of like the first, like in England, like Latin production, or Latinx production, because I don't see them anywhere here. But you were the first one I saw that is the closest to that. So it was very encouraging, obviously.
Oh, that's
It's just
great.
like, yeah.
That's good to hear. And I think, and I think I saw that sort of empty canvas. And I think, I know for sure there's going to be more. And I hope there's more, for Film Locos 2.0 or something like that, I hope, because the thing is that, it's like, I remember talking to Raquel, who is also, and Andrea, who are part of Film Locos. We are just working together. And then we were saying there's been a couple of people who've been trying, and I think like we want to encourage them as well, because the more there are, is the more visibility that we can get. It's like now if you see, like before it was like El Rancho de Lalo, Santa Fereño, just specific places, but now you can go like Brixton, you can find empanadas and like next to McDonald's.
Yeah.
¿Me entiendes?
Yeah.
Allá in West Norwood, and like you can find in different places. Camberwell está packed, like. Hay más, y si te enfocas también en los brasileros, which tienen butchers here,
Sí.
todo lado. So, and I think that's great because that creates, options, and then eventually at the same time visibility. Then people start realizing, oh yeah, this is not just like English, like shop. This is actually, a Brazilian shop or this. And I think the more we are able to get there, the more we are able to sort of create material that one of us will be able to make it.
Ooh, true.
Yeah. But at the same time, what we're trying to be is like to pioneer, to be able to sort of get more places, to encourage people, and to, bring people with us.
That's very true. You'd be surprised how many people actually do want to get involved in this sort of, well, I'm going to call it this sort of market.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of talented people. I mean, the first time I actually met Victor, we were in an audition. I didn't know it was an audition. I was just there to kind of just give my take and go. But I've actually had to act next to him. So it was actually really fun. And I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it, especially just being in there. Usually I'm the guy behind the camera. But seeing this happen in front of me, I was like, oh, this is a whole new different experience. And I honestly think I should encourage more people to just give it a go, because you never know. There's a star in all of us. You just need to find what galaxy we belong in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the beauty, because the thing is that back then, when I started doing acting again, it was like I would know only 10 or 15 actors that were Latinos, entre colombianos, mexicanos, venezolanos. That was it. It was about like 10 or 15 that I knew. That's it. But now there's so many. And even we created, alongside with Sammy Atala, Giancarlo, and Alvaro Flores, all of them actors, we created this database called Latinx Actors. And we created that because we realized that a lot of casting directors are, auditioning, roles of Latin American people, but then other people end up doing it, and then we don't get seen.
Yeah.
So then what we thought is, okay, we're going to create a database where we can send it to them all, and then they can at least give us the opportunity to be able to, get seen, right? And it's been working really well, because I am also directing another little play for children, for theater, focusing on the Latin American community, and we were able to use that to be able to get the actors as well. We send in that. So we're trying to promote. And so far we have about, I think, 100 actors, professional actors, And I know that there is more. So I think the more we are able to sort of bring these sort of things, the better. And now there is, for example, a group of actors acting at the Royal Court. No,
Nice.
they're going to be acting, in January.
Nice.
And this is, I think, the first time I've seen like a group of Latinos acting at the Royal Court. Even I had that pleasure to audition. Didn't get it,
Of course.
But the beauty is that when I found out the people who got it, and we were at the Latin Scratch with Sammy, and we were in the back room, getting ready for the performance, and everyone was just so hype, because we were so happy that someone else that we know that is Latino got it. And I remember Jimena, who is one of the actresses who's going to be there, and she was like, oh, did you audition? I was like, yeah, I auditioned as well. Did you get it? I said, no. And she's like, oh, I got it. Really? How is that happy?
Yeah.
Then someone else come, oh, did you get it? Yes, I got it. So it was just a hype, And I think that's the beauty of being able to sort of get seen and get that sort of, momentum to be able to, represent.
Damn.
Represent.
Yeah.
No, it's true though. It's it's so funny because I've been exposed to a lot of different sides of our community, but it was only recently did I get exposed, towards the theatre acting, and I realized it's big.
It's very, very big,
It's a whole side I never explored.
I feel like acting is such a... I didn't know there was so many Latinos doing it. I mean, I studied drama in college, and I loved it. I think it's similar to what you were saying. It's like you can embody a character, you can embody an emotion, you can embody anything, and it's like, so se pone en ese papel, and like you can just run with it. It's like, I'm not Karina for this hour. Do you get what I mean? I can be someone else or do something else, and I think it's actually a very healthy way of expressing yourself. Because it's an outlet. It's a complete outlet. You could write like how you feel and then make it into like a monologue, for example.
Absolutely.
And you've just made it into like a beautiful art piece and something that you were feeling inside. You've now just made it into something incredible. And I personally really like acting. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it does like help you also as a person, because when I was younger, that was the only way I was able to sort of like really have a voice, because before I was quite shy. Like even that helped me to sort of be more outgoing, to be able to speak in front of public, and that led me to feel, be shameless about learning English as well, because I was making a fool of myself constantly, and then that helped me as well to be able to learn Portuguese, because with all my Brazilian friends I would say like some random stuff and they would just laugh and I would laugh with them. It's like, yeah, burro, burro, yeah. So it was just funny how the arts have a massive impact on how can help you in a career, but also as a person.
Yeah, I think it's so true, because like with acting, I feel like you learn to read people, you learn how to express yourself, your emotions, your thoughts in a different way, in a way that we're not usually taught in school, if that makes sense, in a creative form, which I think of the hierarchy of school, the creative's always like, it's always at the bottom. It's never a priority, when I think it should be, especially for the youth, because they learn they'll have more confidence speaking to other people. Like you said, you won't mind speaking to a group of people. You won't be like, I know, no, you'll be like, it's fine, I got this, let's go.
Yeah.
You'll just see it as like a show or something like that. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Damn, I want to do some acting now.
Yeah, let's do this.
Well, for us, you've encouraged me to I've been hesitant to try chase that career choice, but now after seeing what you've been doing, I figured I might as well give it a shot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna wait like for a few more years, and I don't know why. And I think it was just me thinking I'm too young to do it.
Right.
Yeah, at my current age, which isn't young.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where young now it's accepted to have young directors who are like not in their 40s or late 30s. It's now people are encouraging more for that to happen and giving them more opportunities now.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of stories that need to be told.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, can you imagine doing like a series of everyone's like story of coming to the country? Por ejemplo, like that would be like...
Yeah, there's so many, and everywhere you go, especially like if you mingle into like, there's many stories, right? But like sometimes I think what I encounter is that it's not enough of from our perspective, because the film look is not just for Latinos. The idea is that to see it from our point of view. Because even like the competition is to encourage other writers to write about Latin American characters in their films and normalize that, So, and in the films as well, some of them, they don't necessarily talk a lot about migration. No. Because what we're trying to sort of move is away from, it's not the past. The past is very important, but I think is the now and after. Because I think if we just reflect on the past, we come and just explore that migration story, which is sometimes, quite sad. And then we don't want like people to be thinking, oh, poor Victor, like, oh, I don't want that, because I am more than just, a person who migrated, I'm more just a cleaner. I'm more than not, putting down that sort of job, because I done it, my mom done it, a lot of people done it, but it's the fact that it's not just that, it's not just one label. We are more than that. And I think by being able to normalize these kind of like characters and stories makes it more like
empowering.
Exactly.
And I think it would be good to have like having Latinos as different characters, because you know it's very generic. It would be like if it's a woman, she's, you know, the crazy fiery one. If it's the man, he's in some sort of funny business, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's
Salsa
nice.
instructor.
Exactly. So it's nice to be like, we can do other characters. We do have more to show and more to offer. I do think
We're
that's
breaking
important.
stereotypes. That's what we
Basically, we breaking y'all stigmas.
Yeah.
We ain't what you
Careful.
think we are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is a great time. It's a great time because like things have been opened up for us a lot. You know, I'll give you also another thing. I know that this is something to do with the Latinx excluded, I think, if I'm not wrong. And this is a group of like theater as well that they've been pushing towards having the little box of Latinx, the
When?
Arts Council.
Oh, okay.
And Arts Council is basically what provides funds for artists. And it came a big news in the beginning of this year, in February. And for us, everyone who was involved in the arts was so high because it was the first like institution that has put a box that kind of like represents us. You know, Latinx is still kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
it's on the side, but
It's better than nothing.
it's better than other.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
No longer other.
And now, thanks to that, there's been more recognition. Therefore, what is been happening, a lot of companies have been applying to get funds to be able to do work with this community, which is, you know, is unrepresented, is not visible, and is growing. So that's the thing. I think like it's important in those aspects to reflect in the past because those people are the ones who are actually pushing towards us to get a better future. You know, and I think this is a great time. This is a really
Yeah.
good time.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I think we're on the brink in all senses, in all departments, in
Mhm.
all career paths. It's like being, you know, Latino gang. It's like it's the new hot thing right now. So I think it's time to run with that. No, ya que está en el aire,
Yeah.
you know, push it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's many things that, you know, can be done. And I think like what I'm trying to do is focus on the film because I think this is something that potentially we'll see what happens. Netflix.
What are you? Oh,
Yeah.
Hear me,
I was
Netflix,
about to
come
ask
on.
you.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, I was like, what do you think will, in the next 5 years roughly, or 10 to 5 years, where do you want to see yourself roughly?
Myself,
Mm.
I really, you know, I don't think it's going to be probably 5 years, but in the next 2 max, I would say, I want to do a feature film that is about like, you know, Latin Americans.
Mm.
I don't know exactly what exactly because I'm still working in different sort of aspects. The more I get myself in the community, the more I discover stories. So I'm just putting things together.
Yeah.
And I really want to do a feature film because I have done so many shorts. And I think my jump is now, want to
Going
do
on to
feature.
features.
Yeah, and I want to sort of put it into like, you know, different sort of festivals. I really...
What's a feature
Oh,
film?
sorry.
Ah,
I was like, ¿qué es eso? What's that?
I'm gonna let man explain here.
I was like, what's a feature film?
So-
I think first tell her what shorts are, and then
Yeah, so short is basically just a film that is short.
Like a short movie.
Yeah.
10 to
Cool.
15 minutes roughly.
Yeah. It gets, I think, up to 29
Up to
or
20,
something,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
But that's a short. A feature film will be between, you know, 60 to 90, what we normally see in the cinemas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reason behind that
We've
is
all learnt
yeah.
something today, guys.
I guess the reason behind they made shorts is just generally for I don't know the origin of short films, but I believe it is a way to have a budgetable kind of film to be done in less amount of money, obviously being used, and it's easier to do. It does still cost money,
Yeah.
Of course.
but it's a way of kind of showcasing your talent as well. That's why you put them in a lot of festivals because people do win awards for that. And
Yeah, no, they do.
Yeah.
I think there was a director and I forgot who it was. Forgive me for forgetting.
No, it's alright.
All he did was short films, and he eventually won awards. And then I think it was about 3 to 5 years later he won an Oscar. So
Yeah, no,
be
absolutely. Yeah, you would be surprised about the stuff that, you know, you can achieve with short films.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a great way to start getting, you know, the practice to be able to jump into something,
Of course.
longer. So, and I think I have done, and I think, of course, I want to be able to do that, because I think eventually we can premiere it. We can, we're thinking big. We're not going like
No,
small.
it's small.
Big all the time.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
go big or we go home. But we don't go home.
Literally.
We stay here.
You go big? Oh, you go big.
I'll be very attentive when you announce when you're doing any casting calls or.
Yeah,
now I'm
definitely.
intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Definitely.
okay, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because I think
Absolutely.
obviously this is something. I think this will be something so big, and the community would love it so much. It's kind of the same way, obviously, say like the Caribbean community. They've obviously had a few
Yeah.
like things happening to them, and they've obviously got Netflix movies now as well, and
Yeah.
that's being a big push for
Yeah.
them. It's the
Yeah.
same way. I think it's almost like the way Encanto came out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god,
Exactly.
Disney did this for us," kind of deal. But obviously, if it was a bit more grounded with the people here, that'll be a really big thing here.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'll definitely. And the thing is that we forget that London is not the only place that there's Latinos.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, I just not discovered, but I just came across with the people I work on this 6 short films, that there is like also a big community of like Brazilians in Oxford, in Manchester, in Birmingham, and then I think film is my way to be able to connect with them. And in the future, of course, I really want to not just base everything in London. I also want to do stories that are also based in Manchester, and something that is there. So, and then eventually be able to bring all of this to really bring that sort of, visibility that we are not just in Brixton or Seven Sister, Elephant and Castle, like
Yeah,
More
which I
than
think
that.
is important. Cause I didn't. It's gonna make me sound so ignorant, but I didn't. When I saw, there's this DJ. His name's Coco Semilla, I think, and he does like reggaeton parties in Manchester, Oxford, and I remember seeing like cantidad de gente and they're all singing along to the songs, and I was like,
yes, exactly.
we're not just in London, like we're literally everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think it is very important. Imagine if you if you were to make like a short film or a feature film.
She's learning.
Imagine that being aired, like, I don't know, Manchester, Oxford, Birmingham, London. It's like you're going to get more visibility, as we were saying.
Yeah.
And it's like more representation. You don't know who's going to see that. You're not going to know who's going to like that. They might reach out to the actors who are in that or to the directors who made that feature film.
Yeah. There you go.
She's learning quick. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be the next step. And of course, I also want to act. This is one of my passions. And now it's like, I'm so really, really want to sort of like do it.
Hey man, if you need a director, just
Yeah,
no, that's what we're encouraged to do. No, but I really, I mean, personally, I would love to start working on some projects with you. I'll get up and off the ground, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he's encouraged me a lot in a matter of short amount of time.
No, honestly, after the thing that you did on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't stop blabbing on about it.
He came back like a power, the new man. He was
I
like,
was like, yo,
Karina? This Sunday was, yeah.
I understand this now.
Quite literally. And I think, that in itself shows how powerful it is to just, that was an acting lesson, It wasn't like, all right, now we're going to do this. It's, I don't know. I feel like it sparks things inside of you that is dormant. Yeah. And then the minute that you tap into that, it's like, no se puede poner la tapa, that's it. Like, it's open now.
Keep chasing it.
Yeah.
It was a different energy. I'm used to being on set and stuff like that, but then doing that, it was just a workshop, and it was just different for me. I was just like, wow, there clearly is stuff I haven't tapped in yet, and I'm like,
and the thing is that also I felt on that specific workshop that we done together that this is being also a bit more intimate in the fact that we've been playing things that we know about it, because we've been exploring the stories of like Latin Americans living in London. And then at some point I even kissed his forehead or something because I was playing like I was drunk and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, te quiero. I was like, and I was just really, I started sort of like thinking about all the stuff that I know and the things that happen, and somehow make me even appreciate that moment much more than, let's say, other workshops where I don't have to do nothing with my ethnicity, And I think this is great to hear from you that, you left from there inspired, because potentially, who knows, you might be able to sort of like get into, the career and follow the path and you
God
know,
knows what
something could happen.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I wish that could actually happen, because that's the power of art,
That is true.
you know.
That is the power of art.
To be or not to be.
To be
Or
or
not
not to be.
We'll find a Latin version of that. somewhere.
No, we need to. Será?
Oh,
no
no
será.
será.
Oh damn. So what's your plans after you've basically gone through the shoot in December and the competition? After that, what's the next thing on the agenda?
So we're thinking about potentially see ways of how we could create more work. But again, the problem with filmmaking is that is expensive. You know, regardless of like the kid, we have kid. There's a lot of people eager, but sometimes you don't really think about like the little things that, you know. You need to make sure the actors are, you know, comfortable. Sometimes you might do everything free, no one gets paid, and it's all cool. But then someone has to eat, you know. And then all of a sudden you need like, you know, cups of coffee because the character has to drink it. So then where do you get this, right? Where did you get that? Where did you get the costume? Where did you get that? So already adds up into a budget, and depending where you're shooting as well, depending on the idea. Like for example, was it last year or this year? I think it was last year. We did a shooting in a car park, and we had to pay also, you know, the insurance and the location. So it's kind of like little things that normally doesn't go into the pockets of people, but goes into the production of making something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now what we've been thinking is we're going to try to see ways of how generate, you know, some sort of funds, either apply for grants and stuff, or if we are not, still we're going to be trying to do different sort of things to be able to fund the little things that we can.
Yeah.
So then we can keep creating at least in a monthly base, at least like a little
Something.
short something.
Get momentum going.
Get the momentum, yes. And get to sort of like get the stories that some sort of like connect with us. So in that way, more people can get to see. And then eventually, yeah, we can grow. Yeah. That's the plan with the Filmox.
I mean, I've heard some people also tend to do, well, this is just like on the other side of the pond here. It's not exactly Latin, but, you know, I saw a few people, they start GoFundMes.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that, to be honest. If they want to
No.
start,
No.
for some reason, people got shame in that. And I'm like, why?
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a project done that's actually going to be good for everyone in a representative way. And that's why people were encouraged to be like, yeah, go for it. Ironically enough, a friend of mine, he directed a film. It was a Latin film, a short, and I ended up color grading it. But it was called El Padre or something.
Oh,
like
Padre,
that.
yeah. No, I was casting on that one. I was the one who casted the film, the actors. Yeah.
See, there you go. So I was the grader. But
Pa' que ya trabajaron en
we
algo
already
y ni
worked together,
sabían.
even know.
Because I was supposed to be as a producer on the set, but then I had work. And then what I did is basically just supply, you know, the casting, because by then already we have created the Latinx actors. So therefore, what we did is supply professional actors to
sick.
this
Nice.
production.
Yeah. So what ended up happening in that story was he was short about, I think he was just short about like £300 or something like that.
Yeah.
To pay for like some equipment stuff, and I believe he started a GoFundMe. He ended up
Yeah.
paying 500 or something like that. So he got more than he asked for within a day.
Yeah.
And he was so grateful for it as well. And it just goes to see there are people who, or in our community, who clearly do care, and it can be in other
Yeah.
people's community as well, that they want this to flourish. and work.
Absolutely. And I think we also been thinking about that. The problem is that because we're trying to do it as a monthly base, you know, there's so many favors you can ask. You know?
Yeah.
I don't have 10,000 mothers, you know. I only have one.
Yeah.
I give her a katana, you know. And that's the most difficult bit. However, I think like if you have a passion project that you really want to bring up to life, and then you have cost, then that definitely you should like, you know, go to your community, because I know that there is a big, I done one as well. We managed to get £3,000 for a short film that was around human traffic. So I think also depends, you know, on the subject that you're trying to do. But if it's something that is going to represent your community and people are connected, then definitely they will support. Like the film Sante by John. And then this has been amazing because they've been able to raise a lot of money because the short film was as a reflection of the Colombian community here in the UK. So the British Colombian, it was kind of like a migration story. I haven't seen it, to be honest. I only saw the trailer. But I saw the progress from them crowdfunding it. And there's been a lot of people who've been supporting because, of course, they identify. So, like you said, I don't think there is shame to do it. I think it's just finding the right project for the right time, you know, and not doing it in Christmas. Porque la gente se gasta los regalos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So true.
It's true, yeah. Yeah.
You got anything to ask? Just before any wrapping up? Have a good flick.
Now I have questions to ask about off camera.
Off camera now.
It's about projects. It's about projects.
She wants to audition now. Well,
No, I've just been really grateful to have you here.
Hmm.
You know, I think it's amazing what you do. I think you are the representative that young people need, that people my age, of all ages need, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's important because when you're talking about age of like, oh, maybe I'll do that, I'm too young, or I'm too old. I think it's important to see, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are, anything is possible. And if the door closes,
go through the window.
there you go. You know?
I love that.
I've got some gems from this, so thank you so much.
No problem.
I've really appreciated it, and I feel inspired.
Oh,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Start acting now.
So when's the next
When's the next play?
performance?
I can do this. Need me to play any role? I got you.
Any role?
Not well.
Póngalo en una tanguita.
But me anyway.
I'm joking.
As long as I'm.
Oh my God.
No, but seriously, it's been very inspirational.
Mm.
You've encouraged me to do a lot more than what I'm already doing. Because
Yeah.
how do I say this? Even though I've done this for 2.5 years,
Yeah.
it's kind of gone stale for me a little
Mm,
bit. But it's
mm.
just because nothing's. I think the original reason I got into this was to get into what you're doing, and I think I got lost along the way.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
It happens because it happened to me as well.
Mm.
And I had to it took me some like good 6-7 years to be able to find my way again, you know. But I remember that during those years, it's still I have invested into something else that now I can use it, which is the producing aspect, right? Because I thought I can make a production company, but then I realized I don't really want to own a production company. I really want to be able to act and produce and create. And then I thought, you know, I know how to do this, and if it happens, great. But I want to do in the aspect that I can do something that I'm happy and makes me happy. And I think by being able to sort of bring that sort of, you know, representation, I'm so passionate. And then all of these skills that I learned along the way are paying off now. You know, now I can easily just go and work on budgets, work on like sets, you know about different sort of things in terms of lighting, cameras. You know, I'm not the expert, you know, but I tend to sort of, I have like a range of idea, and I always try to work with also people who know more than me, because I know that I can learn more from them as well, right? You know, I think that's key. Yeah. And anyone can do, you know, what you guys are doing as well, because I'm pretty sure like if young people get to sort of hear this and, you know, see you guys doing what you do, you also are the role models that we were expecting to have, you know. I always see it that way. I always see it like I want to be the person that I wanted to meet, you know, in the future. Like I wanted to meet at that time when I was younger. So I think that also drives me to sort of like just do things and move constantly and keep just, you know, making stuff.
He said, I want to be the person I want to be. Damn.
I know. Victor, really, you have.
Metáforas así.
Sí.
Can you just start writing?
Love the tune.
Start script writing now, man.
Literally. Te puede hacer como un libro de like, affirmations, you know?
She's like, yes.
There you go. Victor's affirmations of life.
But yeah, man, thank you very much for coming in
Pleasure.
today.
Thank
Honestly, it's been a blessing. Every time we do an episode like this, we always come out like, yes.
Yes.
Great. Amazing.
Positive attitude. But yeah, no, this is obviously something we hope to continue as well. And obviously, we'll have you back when your features on the making.
Yes.
That's for sure. Karina, you want to sign up as well?
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure to follow Victor and Film Locos. Where can they find you?
So I have my handle, which is Victor Rios UK, because that was the only one available.
Okay.
I had to sort of put it there. And then Film Locos it's very easy. You know, you can't get lost with that. Like film locals.
Yeah.
Love that, mate.
Perfect. And you know where to find us on Laos Podcast.
Yes.
See you
Thank you
next
very
week.
much, guys.